Hey, what's up? Stephanie, the English coach here from EnglishFulltime.com. Welcome to my 5-day course, Connect and Communicate Basics. This course is all about connecting and communicating with native English speakers. Now, when I say connecting, I'm talking about connecting online and where you live. Yes, native English speakers live all over the world, even in your country, even in your city, and later in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I know this and what you should be thinking of if you want to connect with us. Now, when I talk about the communicate part of Connect and Communicate, I'm not talking about grammar and pronunciation or anything like that. I'm actually talking about your ability to communicate confidently and effectively with English speakers. So this means, one, your confidence, just being able to start a conversation, carry on a conversation, feel great during a conversation, okay? Being and feeling confident is part of communication, a big part of communication, because without confidence, you can't communicate. Now, the other part of communication is your conversation skills, your ability to actually know what to say, when to say it, and why, so that people feel comfortable speaking with you, so that you can have the ability to meet people and make friends. It's one thing to have a conversation with a stranger or 10 strangers. It's another thing to be able to turn those conversations into lifelong friendships. And having that skill and that ability will change your life. And we're gonna talk all about that in this course. Okay, so first things first, why do I teach Connect and Communicate? Why do I teach this? All other English teachers in the world are teaching you grammar, they're teaching you vocabulary, they're teaching you pronunciation. Why am I teaching you this thing that is so random, like how to connect with native English speakers and communicate confidently, start conversations, etc.? Well, it's very simple, and there are actually many reasons why I teach this. The first reason is simply that many of you are advanced in your English. You might not feel advanced, but you're advanced enough to have a conversation with other people, and you want to have conversations with other people. You get bored with traditional English programs, you get bored studying vocabulary, you get bored doing private classes with a teacher. You're just beyond the level that the whole English learning industry has to offer for you. And the next level simply is connecting and communicating with native English speakers so you can practice and improve your English, and also use your English to get better opportunities and to reach your goals and to move your life forward. So we're going to talk about that as well. Another reason why I teach Connect and Communicate is because you can study English for years, but that will not make you fluent. That will not make you great at conversations. That will not make people feel comfortable with you. I know so many English learners that have studied English year after year after year after year, and they still struggle in conversations because they've never had the opportunities to practice. And think about this. Have you ever had a conversation with someone, even in your native language, right, where the conversation was slow and tedious and boring? Yes, we've all had conversations like that. Now think about this. Have you ever met someone and had a conversation with somebody where the time just flew by and you looked at your watch and you were like, oh my gosh, like 2 hours just went by. I can't believe we were talking for 2 hours, right? What's the difference between these kinds of conversations? The difference is that you either click with somebody or you don't. Now, when we say we click with somebody, that means you find out that you have a lot in common and you want to talk, and it just comes naturally. And maybe you can't explain it, but you just find yourself talking for hours and hours, and those are always the best conversations, right? It's like you meet somebody and then you feel like you've been lifelong friends by the time the conversation is over. And then when you don't click with somebody, you don't know what to talk about, you don't know how to act around them, you don't know how to be, because you just can't relate. At the end of the day, it all comes down to being able to relate to people. If you talk with somebody who has nothing in common with you, who thinks the exact opposite way you do, who has completely different beliefs and worldviews and goals, etc., you're not going to click with that person. And if anything, you might end up just fighting with them and debating with them, and you're not going to enjoy yourself, right? So the best conversations are conversations where you meet people, you click, and you can talk for hours about your goals, your hobbies, their goals, their hobbies, and you have so much in common, you just can't get enough of the conversation, right? Now, As a non-native English speaker and or an English learner, you probably rarely have the opportunity to have these types of conversations. Why? Well, probably because you've never thought of conversations in this way before and you've never looked for these opportunities. And even if you have looked, you've really struggled with finding these kinds of people or finding these opportunities, creating these conversations. Maybe this is something you really, really want, but you just haven't figured out how to get it. Again, this is why I'm making this course and this is why we're talking about all of this. So here's the deal. These good conversations that easily go on for hours and you don't notice the time passing by, these conversations are the key to unlocking your fluency and speaking English the way you always dreamed, okay? I've experienced this firsthand. For those of you who don't know, I was a language learner myself. I started studying Spanish when I was 14 years old, and my goal was to become a phenomenal Spanish speaker. I wanted to speak like a native speaker. I wanted to travel to a Spanish-speaking country. I wanted to integrate and blend in with everyone and experience the culture and really absorb this language. And I did that. I studied Spanish in high school and then in college, and then I traveled to a Spanish-speaking country. I even met someone there and we got married, so I'm married to a native Spanish speaker. And I can tell you from experience that doing all of these things will not unlock your fluency. You might think, oh my goodness, if I just study more, or if I just take more classes, or if I just move to an English-speaking country, then I can finally speak the way I always dreamed and feel confident, etc. We create that picture in our head, but that's not actually reality. And I know because I lived it. I went to Argentina and it's like my language skills just locked up. I did not feel comfortable speaking, even though I had studied the language for years. Granted, this doesn't happen to everybody, but it happened to me. But here's what I can tell you. When I finally met people who became really good friends, and they were the kind of people that I wanted to speak with. I could speak to them for hours. All of a sudden, it's like this weight just lifted off of my tongue and I was able to speak quickly and feel like a native speaker. And during these conversations, it was almost like I could step outside of myself and observe myself. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm speaking Spanish this well. I'm expressing myself perfectly. I'm having a great time, great conversations. I don't have to translate in my head. I don't feel nervous. I don't think about what I'm going to say before I say it. I just connect and I interact. And what I learned through all of those experiences is that who you speak with in order to improve a language is very important, because if you click with somebody, it's gonna make you want to speak. You're gonna have so much motivation to share your ideas, to listen to the other person. You're practically gonna be cutting each other off, trying to share your ideas, and it's very exciting. But we don't have these conversations with just anyone. You don't have them with just anyone in your native language, and you definitely won't and don't have them with anyone in a foreign language. So who do we have these types of conversations with? Because again, having these conversations, having great conversations and speaking to people you click with is the key to unlocking your fluency, feeling comfortable in English, and really just improving your language skills, right? So the question is, who do we have these types of conversations with? Well, you have them with people that you like. There has to be something about the person that you like, or many things about the person that you like. And you have them with people who have similar interests to you and similar goals to you. So this is something that I teach in the Connect and Communicate method. When you're thinking of connecting with a native English speaker to practice your English, you don't want to think of it as, who will practice English with me? I just need a native speaker. Anybody. I don't care who it is. Just please somebody practice English with me. Okay? You don't want that mindset, because you're not going to have a great conversation with just anyone. You want to be thinking about the type of person that you want to connect with. So think about this. Think about the job that you do. Think about your interests. Think about your hobbies. Think about your beliefs. Think about the things that you're trying to achieve in life. Think about the really, really big problems that you have right now, right? People love talking about their problems. People love getting advice from other people. They love hearing, hey, what worked for you? I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me? People love that, okay? So think about it. Maybe you are really trying to work out every day. Maybe you've been lazy for 10 years and you're just like, oh my gosh, I really want to be a person who wakes up in the morning and goes for a run, or goes and works out, or goes and lifts weights. Or maybe you're a person that's trying to lose weight and you're like, man, I'm really tired of carrying 20 extra pounds or 100 extra pounds on me all the time. I'm dying to lose weight. Maybe that's your biggest problem right now. Or maybe your biggest problem is that you're really truly unhappy in the work that you do and you want to do something more. Maybe you want to start your own business or transfer to another company. Maybe you want to get a raise. Maybe you want to get a promotion. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, okay? And guess what? There are people all around the world who want the same things you want, and they're going after it and they're getting it right now. They are connecting with each other, communicating with each other, and we're going to talk about that more in the course later, how you can connect with these people and how you can start using your English with them. But again, I hope you're seeing the bigger picture here, that once you start thinking about the things you really want in life and the problems that you really have, the things that get you talking, when you connect with other people who have the same problems, the same goals, the same beliefs, etc., that is what's really going to spark the conversations and get you speaking. Okay, backing up here a little bit. Another reason why I teach the Connect and Communicate method is because when I first got started teaching English online, the number one question students would ask me is, Stephanie, how can I connect with native English speakers? I want to practice my English with native English speakers. How can I meet people and get them to practice with me because I want to practice? And then they would send me emails and send me screenshots and show me what they were trying, and I could see clearly why it wasn't working. And these students were sending messages to total strangers like, hi, I'm learning English. Will you help me? Will you practice with me? And maybe you have even sent something like that. But unfortunately, that doesn't work, right? You either know that from experience, or now you're learning it and you're hearing it, or maybe it was obvious to you before, but that just doesn't work because people don't trust strangers. And beyond that, you're making it all about you. It's like, well, what about the other person? What do you have to offer them, right? Because people are busy and you don't just want to take up somebody's time. What's the benefit to them? If there's no mutual benefit, then people are going to ignore you. And if you send a message like that to a complete stranger, like, hi, I'm learning English, will you practice English with me? They're gonna be a little bit freaked out and they might even block you. And some people have even messaged me and they said, why are native English speakers so moody? Every time I message them and ask if they will practice with me, they just block me. And it's not that people are just moody, it's that that's weird. That's very weird behavior, and people don't like being approached by strangers. And especially when you are approached by a stranger and then you're asked for a very intimate favor, like, will you talk with me because I want to practice my English skills? It makes it all about you, right? And again, if you can't create a mutually beneficial relationship, people will ignore you. It'd be a lot different if you offered something instead of asking for something. And we can talk about that more in another video. Okay, so summarizing all of those points, there are many reasons why I teach Connect and Communicate. It's to help you meet native English speakers, practice your English, but also when you talk with people that you like and talk about things that you enjoy, it really does unlock your fluency. It helps you speak so much better, and it helps you enjoy the learning process a lot more. It unlocks your motivation, and the added benefit, we're gonna talk about this a lot more later on, is that it's simply life-changing. When you learn how to connect and communicate with people strategically, it can and will change your life. So imagine this right now. I want you to imagine what your life would be like if you had a friend like me who is, let's say, from California. Okay, that's where I'm from. And every day we talk with each other and we chat and we send messages, and maybe once a week we talk on Skype or we do FaceTime with each other. Imagine what that would do to your English, right? You would have a real reason to use English because you'd have a friend who speaks English. Your English would improve. You would pick up so much vocabulary from just using your English on a daily basis. You wouldn't even have to study vocabulary because you would be absorbing it naturally. Okay, so you can see that having a friend who speaks English is beneficial, right? And you know this already. Now I want you to imagine this in your professional life. Imagine having a mentor. Imagine having somebody who does what you do, but who has been doing it for 20 years longer. They're more advanced than you are. They know more than you do. They have more connections than you do. And imagine having an amazing relationship with this mentor, and this person helps you, answers your questions all for free, wants to see you succeed, talks with you every other week, and tries to help you get better opportunities in your career. This is something that really blows my mind because several years ago, I knew the word mentor, but I didn't have any mentors and I didn't know how to get a mentor or anything like that. But now I have several mentors, and these relationships that I have with my mentors are so amazing because they're mutually beneficial. I don't actually pay these people to help me, they just help me. And besides having mentors, I also mentor other people on my own. And these relationships, you might think, oh, well, how does that work? Do I have to be a native English speaker? No, absolutely not. Later, we're going to talk about the level of English that you need to make all of this work, and it's going to surprise you. It's not nearly as advanced as you might think. Anyhow, if you have mentors, if you have relationships with colleagues, people in your field who do what you do, and if you have these kinds of relationships with people all over the world, native English speakers and non-native English speakers, all of a sudden you're going to open up a whole world of opportunity that you didn't even know exists. You know, as they say, the best job opportunities are almost never advertised. It's like you have to know somebody who knows somebody, right, to get the best opportunities. And these are the kind of opportunities where somebody, let's say a business owner has a business and they say, oh my goodness, I really need another person in sales at this company, but we don't just want to promote this job anywhere and hire anybody. And they ask within their company, does anybody here, any of the employees, does anybody know someone who would be a great fit for this job? And let's say that you made a friend online who works at that company, and you've been building that relationship for 6 months, and then your friend says, yeah, I know someone who would be perfect for this, and they recommend you, okay? That is how you get your foot in the door. Okay, that's an expression that we use. It means that's how you get opportunities that other people can't get. It's really about who you know. Another saying that we have in English is your network is your net worth. So the relationships that you have and that you form with people are very valuable. And again, several years ago, I never thought about creating relationships strategically, and now that's like all I do. All of my relationships have been created strategically based on what am I doing? What am I trying to achieve? Who do I want to connect with? And then using actual strategies to connect with people to move my life forward toward my goals while I simultaneously help other people and benefit other people. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that native English speakers live all over the world. Yes, we are going to be talking about meeting native English speakers online, and that is because everyone uses social media, and to use the connect and communicate methods, you do have to be ready to use social media. And if you are totally opposed to social media, this is not going to work for you, because we use social media to initially connect with native English speakers, and we use it strategically. So for all of the people out there who are thinking, oh my gosh, I hate social media is a waste of time, I totally understand, and usually it is. But when you learn how to use social media strategically, the world becomes your oyster. You can connect with anybody. It's amazing. So you do have to be ready to use social media. You can easily, in the click of a button, essentially meet thousands of native English speakers online, but there are also native English speakers living where you live. And this always surprises my students. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this just to open your mind to this idea and help you realize that you might even have neighbors who are native English speakers, and I am not joking. Okay, so first of all, many of you know that I lived in Argentina for 6 years, and I lived in Buenos Aires, but I did not live in the center of the city, like where most of the tourists and foreigners go. I lived in the suburbs, so many people were constantly shocked to meet me every day, like, oh my gosh, where are you from? You're from California? Wow, what are you doing here? Here of all places, this is so random. Okay, so I'm telling you, native English speakers live all over the world, even in the most random places, random countries, random cities, wherever you think we are not, that is exactly where we are, okay? So let me tell you why native English speakers live all over the world. First, for work, okay? Lots of companies require people or pay people more money to go work abroad. Sometimes it's for periods of time, sometimes it's permanent, okay? And a lot of native English speakers that go abroad for work, they often don't speak the language and they often feel isolated. It's like the same thing that you feel or you would feel if you were living in the US, like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody here. I feel like a foreigner. Oh, this sucks, right? A lot of immigrants go through that in the US, in the UK, Australia, etc. Well, guess what? There are native English speakers going through that right now in your country and in your city going, oh my gosh, like I feel like such a foreigner here, right? So your job would be to find these people using the connect and communicate strategies to meet them and to be their friend, right? And then you can create that mutually beneficial relationship. You can help them, you can be a friend, and they will speak English with you, which will help you. Right? So native English speakers go all around the world for work. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is travel, whether it's traveling somewhere for a week, a couple weeks, a month, several months, or a year. Your country might be a very popular destination for tourists. And if that's true, there are native English speakers right around the corner just waiting to meet you, okay? Another reason why native English speakers live in foreign countries is because they marry foreigners, right? My husband is from Argentina, so I lived in Argentina for 6 years. I lived there because I married him and we weren't ready to live in the US. There are thousands of people in my position. Another reason why native English speakers live all over the world is for study, right? We go study abroad. Native English speakers love study abroad programs because it allows us to immerse ourselves in other cultures and other programs, etc. So these programs are popular all over the world, okay? Not just in the countries where you might think that they are popular, okay? We study abroad, and plus when people are doing their masters or they have to go do research, especially if they're studying something like anthropology or sociology, these people will go move to the country that they are studying, the region that they are studying, and they will live there to do their research. Okay, another reason why native speakers now live all over the world is because of retirement. More and more native English speakers are choosing to retire outside of their home country for whatever benefits it has to offer, whether it's the lifestyle, the currency, exchange rate, etc. There are lots of native English speakers retiring around the world. Okay, and finally, more and more native English speakers are working online because there are so many opportunities now to make money online, etc. And this frees people up. More and more people are living all around the world just because they can. As long as they have an internet connection, that's all they need. Okay, so your task for today is I want you to think about what kind of people you want to connect with. I want you to imagine the perfect friend, if you will. I want you to imagine people, native English speakers, that you would want to connect with. What are these people interested in? What are they doing right now? What do they believe in? What is their work ethic like? What kind of personality do they have? I want you to start imagining these people, because once you know the kind of person that you want to connect with and what they're like and what their interests are and what their goals are and what their hobbies are, it's going to be so much easier for you to connect with the right people, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have tried language exchange apps, and maybe some of you have had really great experiences on these apps and others of you haven't. I know a lot of women complain like, oh my goodness, the men on these apps, they just want to flirt and it's so annoying and they're just looking for a girlfriend. That is frustrating. And when you're serious about improving your English skills, you don't have time to waste. You don't have time for that, right? And plus, the conversations are always the same. It's like, hi, how are you? Where are you from? How did you learn this language? There's no depth to the conversations. Everything that I talk about with the Connect and Communicate method is all about going deep. It's about meeting people and then creating relationships and friendships that will last a lifetime. And you get to decide what kind of relationships these are. Do you want to focus on meeting friends? Do you want to find mentors? Do you want to mentor other people? Are you interested in romantic relationships? There is nothing wrong with that, especially because this is coming from somebody who is married to a native Spanish speaker. And this is something that I wanted. All my life, I loved the idea of one day marrying a native Spanish speaker. So I did it. There's absolutely no shame in that. So think about who you want to connect with, what kinds of conversations you want to have, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow in the next video. We have 5 days of classes and there's a lot of ground to cover. So far, this was just the introduction, the basics. This is about why I teach the Connect and Communicate method and opening your mind to all the possibilities. In upcoming classes, we're gonna talk about whether you're ready or not to actually have conversations with native English speakers. We're gonna talk about where you can find native English speakers online and where you live. We're gonna talk about how you can meet native English speakers and how you can start conversations and how you can take a very basic getting to know you type conversation and transforming that into a lifelong relationship. So again, we have a lot to cover. I hope you really enjoyed this video and I can't wait to see you tomorrow in the next one.